Pressure and temperature can be obtained through physical processes or digital devices by directly measuring temperature acquisition medium, and the industrial electronic means converts digital signals to digital display to obtain the true value. The experiment uses different instruments to measure temperature and pressure, including manual and digital measurements.
PT100 resistance thermometer is used to measure the temperature. It's based on changing resistance by changing temperature. Firstly, connect the sensor and PT100. Place the probe into water and start the stopwatch. Wait for the reading to show a stable number and stop the stopwatch. After that, the voltage can be measured by using a multimeter. It's connected with the resistance thermometer and adjusted to ohms. Then get the final reading. Resistance thermometer measures between 0 to 100 degrees Celsius. Due to high accuracy, it is used as inline thermometers in the food industry. Thermistors are made up of materials whose resistance is dependent on its temperature. To determine the temperature, the reading probe is connected to the sensor, so measuring the probe in the water, the measured temperature will be displayed. The relationship between the electrical resistance and the temperature is nonlinear. They are used for electronics and the range is between 20 to 55 degrees Celsius. Thermocouple type K measures the temperature difference by measuring the voltage difference between junction of two metals and a reference junction, which is kept at a certain temperature. Connecting the reading probe to the sensor and submerging it into water, the temperature can be read from the display. Then with the multimeter set to voltage, the sensor is submerged in the water and the measured voltage can be converted to temperature. Thermocouple measures a range from 0 to 100 degrees Celsius. It is used in gas-fed heating appliances.
Gas pressure thermometer works on the principle that the volume of a gas increases when the temperature of gas increases. A temperature variation acting on the sensor proportionately alters the pressure of the gas contained within it. It has a wide range of measurement possible, from negative 260 degrees Celsius to 800 degrees Celsius, so it can be used in extreme environments like the furnace. Bimetallic thermometers have two bimetallic strips of different coefficient of thermal expansion. When the temperature rises, the strip will turn in the direction of the metal with the lower temperature coefficient, which its deflection indicates the temperature variation. Bimetallic thermometers are widely applied in heaters and refineries in industries as they are simple and cost-efficient. In a mercury thermometer, a glass tube is filled with mercury and a standard temperature scale is marked on the tube. With changes in temperature, the mercury expands and contracts, and the temperature can be read from the scale. It can be used to determine vapor and liquid temperature, and it is widely used in chemical tanks and heating in chemical industries, and it has a range of negative 80 to 330 degrees Celsius.
To measure the positive pressure, a tube attached to a non-return valve and a syringe was connected to the U-tube manometer. The valve was used to recalibrate. The syringe was then used to push 2 ml of air into the manometer, and the height difference in the liquid was recorded. These values were used to calculate the pressure. It can measure a pressure range from 20 to 300 millibar with uncertainty of positive and negative 0.5 mm. It measures the pressure difference in a ventilation system or the pressure drop of a fluid flowing through a pipe in industry.
Board-on tube manometer is shaped like a coil. It measures pressure based on increasing pressure, causing the coil to unwind. To measure the negative pressure, the connector is attached to the manometer on one end and syringe on the other. Use syringe to pull air out of the system and the pressure can be read. It can measure from -60 to 60 millibar. It is used to measure pressure in agricultural field sprayers.
An inclined manometer is rotated 30 degrees and is used to measure smaller pressures more accurately. To measure the negative pressure, the connector was attached to the manometer on one end and the non-return valve and a syringe on the other end. The valve was used to calibrate the manometer by setting the liquid height at the same level. Then syringe was used to pour 2 ml of air out of the system. The liquid height difference was recorded to calculate pressures. It has an uncertainty of positive or negative 0.5 mm and it can measure pressures up to 350 psi. It is mainly used in industry for ventilation or air conditioning system. During the measurement of boiling water, first put the container on the laboratory heating plate, then turn on the power supply and adjust it to suitable temperature. Put the heating stick in the ice-water mixture, 2 heating sources to ensure the water temperature constant. Wait till it boiled and repeat the temperature and pressure measurements. In conclusion, selecting a proper temperature or pressure measurement device is important in industry. Both temperature, pressure range, and response time should be considered. For safety and hazard, heat-resistant gloves are necessary during the experiment because the metal water container had been warmed to high temperature. Secondly, make sure the water container away from electricity to prevent accidents happening.